What's up everybody, welcome to the Japanese food tour in downtown Tokyo. Today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite Japanese foods. It's called the omelette rice, which is also known as the Omurice. Yesterday I cruised around Tokyo trying to find the best Omurice in Japan, and I must say I was pretty impressed. So if you want to find out how to get to these restaurants, then stick around till the end of the video. Otherwise, without further ado, let's get this Omurice tour started, baby. So the first restaurant in Tokyo I went to was called Azabu Shokudo, and they served up a mean white sauce Omurice. I mean, as soon as I sat down in that restaurant and got served up that omelette rice, I started salivating at the mouth in animalistic fashion. I was trying my best to maintain an outward calm, I really was. But inwardly my mind was going haywire at the mere anticipation of eating this omelette rice. My heart was a-pumping and my survival instincts were a-thumping at the mere prospect of inserting this finely prepared delicacy into my mouth. I mean, do you see this omelette rice? The inside's got some fried rice with pieces of chicken, the outside's got some egiwag and some white sauce. It was looking kinda simple yet kinda elegant, so I decided to take myself a magnificent bite. Now, I thought I had some nice Omurices in my day, I really did, but apparently I was wrong. Apparently I was dead wrong. Crazy as it may sound, this Omurice was tasting so good that I felt like I just beheld the inner workings of the universe itself. I guess what I'm trying to say in a roundabout way is this Omurice completes me. I felt like a newborn babe seeing the world for the very first time, and this Omurice single-handedly reminded me of the infinite possibilities of this finite world. And just how much do I love this Omurice? Let me count the ways. First of all, that white sauce was tasting creamy to the max, and the mere flavor of it was making me feel metaphysically relaxed. Second of all, that thin layer of high-quality Japanese egiwag was hugging that rice like a blanket on a cold winter's night. And third of all, that fried rice was tasting pretty decent in its own right. I mean, I think it had some vegetables and chicken in the mix. And I gotta say, I do kinda like the fact that I'm eating some chicken bits and some chicken egiwags at the same time. I feel like this is a family affair over here. I'm devouring multiple generations of chickens in a single chomp, and if that ain't a praiseworthy accomplishment, then I don't know what is. Anyway, you probably saw me put some of that Tabasco on the top, and I must say that was a worthwhile addition. I mean, I don't know about you baby cakes, but me personally, whenever I have a white sauce, I like to get me a little hot sauce on the top as well. I think it's a nice flavor contrast. And with each passing bite of this washoku, it was tasting better and better, and I was starting to really appreciate that fried rice inside. The more I ate of it, the more I thought it didn't even really taste like a fried rice. It tasted more like a high-class risotto with an Eastern flair. So taking all those top-notch flavors into account, and taking into account the fact that all those flavors seem to melt together perfectly, if I were to rate this delish dish, I think I'd have to give it a 5 out of 5 samurai dogs. And after finishing such an incredible Omurice, I started thinking maybe I should quit now. I mean, how could I possibly top that off? But hey, sometimes you gotta aim high in life, and my personal goal for the day was to try 3 different kinds of Omurice in 3 different restaurants. Now, you personally might not consider that to be a lofty goal, but I consider it to be a real lofty goal. Some people dedicate their lives to trying to cure cancer. Some people dedicate their lives to try to bring about world peace. But me personally, I'm trying to dedicate my life to eating large quantities of empty calories in a short space of time, and who's to say one goal is really better than another? I mean, animalistically chomping down on this Omurice fills my heart with an inner sense of peace and an inner sense of joy, and what more could you really ask for in life? Anyway, this next restaurant over here is called Grill Grand, and I ordered myself a Demi-Glace sauce Omurice. At first, I thought this omelet rice was tasting too simplistic, but after taking chomp after chomp, my opinion of it got more realistic. By and by, I came to the realization that this subtle yet sophisticated Demi-Glace sauce was one for the history books. That sauce had a kind of meaty, clovey flavor to it that went real well with that eggyweg. Then you have that fried rice on the inside, which has bits of chicken and mushroom in there, and it's tasting pretty good. In fact, it's tasting pretty decent in my book. I mean, the rice quality probably isn't as good as the previous restaurant, but that eggyweg really steals the show, baby. Those eggs are as light and fluffy as Cloud9, and they're kinda like scrambled eggs, but somehow the maestro managed to make them into omelet form. And although those eggs are so soft and slippery that they're kinda hard to pick up with a spoon, they melt together with that demi-glaze sauce perfectly. In fact, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that right there is a match made in heaven. It's almost as though the food maestro in this place dedicated his entire life to crafting and creating this incredible dish specifically for me. Basically, I'm feeling the love over here. That's pretty much the main point I'm trying to get across. And since I am here eating omurice, I should probably answer a question I've gotten over and over through the years. Dustin, just why do you like omurice so much? Well, that's nice of you to ask, and it's a pretty complicated answer, but if I were to sum up that answer in as short a space of time as possible, I'd have to go on ahead and say that I like omurice because it tastes nice. In fact, I like omurice because it tastes real nice. Aside from the fact that it contains almost zero natural enzymes, it's a pretty healthy and a pretty hearty meal. It's kind of like a meat and potatoes meal without the meat and without the potatoes. It's a comfort food of the highest caliber, jam-packed with protein, fats, and carbs, and I'm loving every second of it. So if I were to rate this maximally umami demi-glaze sauce omurice, I think I'd have to give it a 5 out of 5 samurai dogs as well. And after polishing off the second omurice, I still had a third and final omurice left, so I cruised on over to the next restaurant. What we got here is an establishment called Shinkawa Tsutsui. So I sprinted on inside this place and ordered up their very famous Toro omurice, which basically has some crab meat and tomato sauce involved. And aside from the differences in sauce, this omurice was looking different from the previous ones I had because it actually has some rice infused within the very outer layer of eggyweg. In other words, this puppy's got rice on the outside and the inside, and there is supposedly crab meat on the inside, although it is kinda hard to see it. Anyway, I dipped that omurice into the left sauce, which is the creamy tomato, and then I took myself a bite. And whoa, baby, hold the phone. Is this omurice for real right now? Because crazy as it may sound, that cream tomato sauce and crab meat combo was tasting both edible and incredible. I mean, the crab flavor isn't that strong, but I do detect an ever so subtle yet rich seafood flavor in the background. Granted, that outer layer of eggyweg is a bit thin and it is a bit ricey for my liking, but it's a nice change of pace, and I think it's a pretty nice taste. So while the left side of the dish was creamy tomato, the right side was a plain tomato, and I figured I'd try that sauce out as well. And wow, just wow, check out that little tomato chunk action in there. Seems to me like it's looking fresh to death. So I ended up chomping down on that plain tomato sauce like a trailblazing Caucasian, and it was okay. It had a stronger tomato flavor to it, as you would expect, but I personally prefer that cream sauce, perhaps because I like a little extra saturated fat in my bites. And I must say, overall, this omurice and the previous ones I ate were excellent examples of Yoshoku cuisine. What's Yoshoku, you ask? It's basically a kind of Western-influenced cuisine that started to evolve while Japan started to modernize. So when you have deep-fried pork cutlets, Japanese curry, Japanese sandwiches, or omelet rice, those are all forms of food that evolved in Japan after being introduced by the West, which is probably why I like them so much. But anyway, enough with all the trivial knowledge, you get the drill. Overall, if I had to rate this particular Omurice, incredible though it may be, I think I'm gonna have to give it a 4 out of 5 samurai dogs. I mean, it did improve my life in ways I can never truly know, but it was not a game changer nor a showstopper like the previous 2 Omurices were. And although I'd give a slight edge to the first Omurice I had in terms of flavor, I think the second one has the best location. I mean, the second place is close to Sensoji Temple in Asakusa, whereas the first and third places are in random locations that you probably would not visit as a tourist. Anyway, if you want to see some more borderline spiritual Japanese food, then feel free to check out some of my previous videos. I've got a video about Japanese unagi, aka the eel meat, and I've got an okonomiyaki tour in downtown Osaka. So click one of those links within 5 nanoseconds and you'll have good luck for 20 years, baby cakes.